Hello YouTube, this is Tom Houston with Tom Houston Photography here, and today I'm going to be reviewing my 35mm f1.8G lens. And I'm doing this lens because it is one of the most viewed blog posts I have on my blog, so I thought you guys would like to hear my thoughts on this on YouTube. So this lens is a 35mm fixed lens, so it's not a zoom lens, it's a prime lens. So if you want to zoom, you use your legs. It has a maximum aperture of 1.8, which is very good for low light. Its bokeh isn't that amazing, so I wouldn't buy it for its bokeh, but it does blur out the background because at 1.8. It is a G lens, so it is gilded, so it doesn't have a aperture ring on it. It is a DX lens, and that means that it is specifically made for a cropped sensor. I do know that you can use it on a full frame camera in the full frame mode, and it still works with minimal vignetting. I don't know why you would want to use this lens on a full frame camera, but you can. It has the manual autofocus switch, and it comes with a pretty small lens hood, nothing crazy. And it is pretty much all plastic construction. It does have a metal mount, but other than that, it's mostly plastic. So I got this lens because when I was taking pictures at events with my friends, I was using my 50 and I was backing up into tables and walls and you name it, and I couldn't really get much of a group shot with that. And also my friends wanted to be able to see their high heels in photos as well, and a 50 will not let you do that inside very easily. So I invested in the 35mm, and it worked perfectly for events because I wasn't too worried about someone spilling a drink on it because it is a pretty small, inexpensive lens. And it's lightweight, so it doesn't break your arm if you're carrying it around for multiple hours at a time. And it worked fine for that. I don't use it that much for my own personal work, like my portraits and stuff, because it isn't quite the perspective I usually want. Usually I will gravitate more to my 50 or my 85 or even my 105 instead of the 35, but that doesn't mean it's not a good perspective. That's just my personal preference, so you could try it and love it, because I know a lot of people do love the 35. Its optics are great. There's nothing wrong with sharpness or image quality or anything like that. It takes very, very good photos. It is a pretty cheap construction of a lens because it is a DX lens. It was more targeted for the amateur, so it is inexpensive. So that means it isn't built to the highest qualities, but that makes it lightweight and it makes it cheap. So if you want it to be cheap and lightweight, then you should be okay with its build quality, because if it was anything better than this, it would be more expensive and heavier. Personally, when I use it, it doesn't really inspire a lot of confidence because the focus ring is really cheap and plastic feeling, and just, I don't love it. But it has had its moments. I used it a lot with my studio because it was just the perfect focal length to get full body shots, and again, it wasn't heavy, so I was taking a lot of photos. It wouldn't be too bad lugging around. And now I have a 17 to 55mm lens, so I can use either of those for wider shots. If it's a place where I'm not worried about my lens being damaged in any way or someone spilling a drink on it, or if I'm not too worried about carrying it all day, I will go with the 17 to 55. If I don't want something heavy, if I know I'm going to be like running around or jumping around or potentially causing damage to this, I will pick this lens over my 17 to 55 because this is astronomically lighter and if I break this, I won't have such a bad day compared to if I broke my 17-55. I would probably have a bad week if I did that. So this lens is really good for its weight and the fact that personally I wouldn't be that heartbroken if I broke it. So I am a little, I do a little more risk taking when I have this on my camera. I have been jumping around on those like human-sized hamster balls with this lens, with my just camera strapped around my back, and it's fine. So overall, I don't love the perspective of this most of the time, which doesn't mean you won't. It just means you should probably try it out first before you buy it, and compare it with 50mm. I did like it because it's lightweight. I don't love the build construction. It is a great beginner's lens because it does let you have a wide aperture compared to like the 18-55. It is nice to have a prime lens in your kit so that you can get used to using a prime. It does probably have better image quality because it is a prime compared to 18-55. And another thing I would say is that if you know what you're going to be taking pictures of when you're getting your first digital SLR, I would potentially recommend getting this lens instead of your zoom. One of my buddies did that. He got a D7000 and got this lens with it because he didn't really want the huge landscape photos, but he wanted something that he could always carry with him, always have with him, that's lightweight, it's inexpensive, and still takes good photos, but has a wide aperture. So if you know what you're taking photos of, and if this would meet those needs, I would recommend getting this instead of an 18-55 because you won't keep using the 18-55 if you're ever going to upgrade lenses usually. The other thing is, if you don't know what you're going to be taking pictures of, get the 18-55 hands down, because that will let you take pictures of anything and everything usually, and then you can find out what you really like taking photos of, and if that subject matter that you like taking photos of, if the 35 fits for that, this would be a good lens to get. It is cheap and it is small, so if you have like a camera bag that fits the 18-55, it will fit this, which is nice. You don't have to upgrade your camera bag. You just want to fit this with your camera. So overall, I would recommend this lens to beginners, amateurs. It has a great optic quality. Its build quality may not be the best, but that's what happens when it's a cheap lens. The only thing I would say is just make sure you like the perspective you get with this lens before you buy it. I would probably buy this lens again, knowing the perspective, but that's only because it's a really good backup lens if I don't want to use my 17-55, or if my 50 isn't quite wide enough for whatever reason. So that is my review, my quick review of the 35mm. If you have any questions, just toss them on the link below. So I hope that helps. Again, if you have any questions, toss them down below, and cheers.